Welcome, everyone, to the Circle of Debate podcast and also Straight Talk Wrestling podcast as well. This is the host of Devious One, IBC, and today I'm joined by my brothers, mis hermanos, from the League of Extraordinary Podcasts. These two individuals also provides you with the most updated, which we're going to talk about it, which is our top 5 picks of the week, which is top 5 MLW matches. That's what we're talking about right there. That is right, because these two individuals provide you what's going on in the world of Major League Wrestling. So let me go ahead and introduce them. Of course, mi hermano, Mr. George Mckay, and my other brother, Mr. Stogie Man himself, Uncle Bobby B. How are you, gentlemen?
Good, my friend. Good. Glad to be here. Always glad to be back on Circle of Debate. This is like my home away from home, and you are mi hermana, mi familia. So this is perfect. I'm glad to be back again for I think this is round 3 or 4. It's just great. I love every time I come back. I love it. Even when Chris is on. Hi, Chris. Love you, bro. Love you.
He'll be watching this. Trust me. He'll be watching.
Absolutely. And also, shout out to Matt and Mike for sure. Both those guys are fantastic. They're awesome. Everyone in the Circle Debate is great. Championship on the line. Everyone in the league. Dirty Heels, Jofo, everybody in the league. And if I forgot anybody, I apologize. I didn't mean to. It's just I'm getting older and I'm tired. And I got to paint after this. So, yeah.
There you go. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen. Well, tell everybody about yourself, Uncle Bobby B. Come on, man. Introduce yourself, brother.
Nothing special about me. Greetings to everybody out there. Circle of Debate, podcast fam. Great to be here. I'm Uncle Bobby B, man. I love wrestling. I like talking about wrestling. And talking is one of the few things I'm good at. So let's exploit that and let's talk about some awesome MLW matches here.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
And this is the one thing which I love that Uncle Bobby B and George do every Sunday on their YouTube channel. They cover everything up to date for MLW. And the funny thing is that MLW does not get credit where credit is due. Let me remind everyone, to all of our viewers and audio platform listeners, if it wasn't for MLW, there will not be like the discoveries of MJF, the discoveries of CM Punk at the time, Daniel Bryanson, the American Dragon, Low Key, Killer Cross. The list could go on and on that people are not really familiar with. So if you want to go ahead and watch their previous matches, YouTube, look for them for the MLW matches, because that's where they made their names themselves. And obviously, MLW was founded in 2002, June 15th, revived itself back in 2017 with a better roster and a better platform, and so which these two gentlemen here cover on a weekly basis. So let's get to it, gentlemen. Now our top 5 picks of the week. So I'm going to pick my top 5 myself. I'll go first, and I'll let my other guest be last. So, because I want to see how you guys are going to critique me. You're like, this motherfucker's not reading shit. So I'm throwing myself to the hound. So fuck it, let's go.
No way, man. Listen, out of anybody who knows their wrestling and stays humble about that, it's you. You're a fantastic host. Your format is great, and you do your research, which is great. The one time I had you on as a guest host for MLW, when I was in the mix of trying to figure out who was going to take that permanent position, it was a great conversation. It was one of my highest rated episodes, and that's a credit to you. It's not a credit to me. It's a credit to who brings on. And even as much as I don't want to say this, Uncle Bobby B, I can't say he's older than me now because he's not. So logically speaking, Uncle Bobby B was the best choice just because we're in the same time zone. But if you and I could have made it work, and I know we would have, one of us would have been more tired than the other, I would have. But you're always welcome back to Rewind. You know that. Rewind is your second home. Anytime you want to come back on, we got you. 100%.
I appreciate you
West
very
Coast
much.
time.
I know, bro. Tell me, the time that we had to record with George, I had to be up I think it was 10 in the morning and 9 in the morning, and it was already like noon around East Coast time. So
yeah.
Well, don't feel bad, because he makes me do podcasts at 10 in the morning our time.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, but I gotta have time to fucking edit it and get it all ready and shit. That does take time. It's not like it takes 8 minutes to do that.
That's true.
That's not what your wife says.
Oh.
Hey, listen, 8 minutes is good. You didn't say 60 seconds, motherfucker.
8 minutes. I've done 2.5 times.
Solid. And let me tell you something. In 8 minutes, it's quality. Quality over quantity, buddy, okay? 8 minutes.
So kind of like MLW, quality over quantity.
That's it. Quality over quantity. Why do you need 3 hours and 1 hour that people don't give a fuck about? Just give it 1 hour. That's all we need. Well, actually,
why do you need 80 wrestlers
for 90 minutes?
40 of which you don't put on TV.
That's right. And then you release them and say, wish the best of luck, but then say for 3 months, hey, you can't fucking work for 3 months.
Well,
Can't
unless they forget to update your NXT contract.
That's
yeah,
right, Matt.
That's right.
Hey,
That's
and
right.
AEW do it. I bet you anybody, as soon as they said, listen, but it's funny. I was on Turnbuckle Tavern a couple days ago, and that episode actually drops on Monday. And we were talking about Mckay Black. And it was funny. I was like, I bet you any money when he got released, Cody called him or Tony called him, probably Tony called him, and was like, hey, man, you want to make some money? Yeah. You still got contact? Yeah. You still got the eyeliner from your wife? Yeah. You still wear all black? Yeah. You still want the last name to be black? Yeah. How about the first name? Mckay work for you? Yeah. So you're going to pretty much, we're going to take the character that you were building in WWE right before they released, and we're going to make it our own, right? Yeah. So how's your no complete clause? Actually, funny thing, it ends in like 2 weeks. Really? Well, let's fucking go. That's the way the conversation went. I guarantee you in some form or fashion, that is the way the conversation went down between Tony Khan or his representatives or whoever reached out to Mckay, or if Mckay reached out to them. I'm not really sure. Tommy End, Aleister Black, whatever you want to call him. All I know is that they better strap a rocket on that guy and send him right to the main event. So once you work the program with Cody, yada, 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 he better be going at Hangman. He better be going at Kenny. Whoever is the champion is most likely going to be Hangman. But he better be going to the main event picture. Don't get him lost in the mid card, please. We don't need another disaster. Utilize the man properly because he is one of the best talents in wrestling, period. And I'll put my stamp on that, 100%.
Awesome. Definitely. Well, yeah, we definitely got to have a debate about that soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to. All right.
We should debate that, and we should debate how much money Tony Khan's dad gives him for an allowance every week.
Works. He has jobs, makes his own money.
Oh yeah, he's a job man.
He's like a stats analyst for Jacksonville, and he does something up at Fulham FC in England.
Yeah, and who owns Jacksonville again, Rob? Who owns Jacksonville?
I understand, but that's not an allowance. He's working for it.
Right.
Allowance.
I'm sure he's probably the highest paid stat analyst on the fucking Jaguars. I'm sure he gets like 3 times bonuses. Hey, Tony, listen, you're my son. I love you. Here's 50 grand.
Yeah, but at least he's got to do something for it. It's not just like,
Absolutely.
Here's some money for nothing.
Tony, here's your birthday gift for your like 30th birthday, dude. I'm going to buy you a wrestling company.
No, he took him to see ECW when he was 16, remember?
Oh, God, just whatever. Start the show. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. My number 5.
All right.
2004, the American Dragon, Daniel Bryanson versus Teddy Hart. I actually enjoyed it. The fact that we had a high flyer versus a technician in the ring. And this is the first time we rarely see Teddy Hart do any technician moves or rarely do any high flying moves. And remind you that obviously he came from the dungeon. He was one of the last ones along with TJ Wilson. So he's kind of familiar already how the technicalities is in the shoot, wrestling in the ring. But I enjoyed this match overall. I can actually watch this over and over, and because I'm a Daniel, American Dragon fan too at that time. So I can say, yeah, that's my number 5. Number 4, Killer Cross, which is Karrion Kross, ladies and gentlemen, versus Tom Filthy Lawler. I love that because that was a heavy-hitting, hard-hitting match. Even though there was an interference at the end, caused the match to be over, But in the beginning of the matches, it was like, that was your Brock Lesnar of MLW, which was Killer Kross, my opinion. I mean, you can judge me on that, comment below. I don't give a shit. Judge me. But that was pretty much Killer Kross. MLW was, had their Brock Lesnar, which is Killer Kross at that time when he was, wrestling for a promotion at the time. And he was, unstoppable. Very unstoppable. To this day, he still is. All right. Number 3, Jacob Fatu versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. I enjoyed that match. I know George is like, I beg to differ. I already know. I did enjoy it, bro. Everybody has their own cup of tea, George. I mean, cup of coffee, George. I know you hate tea. I'm drinking iced coffee. I'm drinking iced coffee, bro. I'm not the old man, man. I'm not. Louis, you're watching this. How are you?
He's releasing his 18th podcast today. That's what he's doing.
Yes, because he's give him the views, ladies and gentlemen. The views.
That's right. Absolutely.
No, but yeah, that match I actually was really intriguing. Obviously, finally, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, so you guys are more knowledgeable than me. I feel that was the first time that Davey had his title shot for MLW heavyweight title. Was it, or was it the second time?
I believe that was the second time. Again, I'd have to like fact check, and considering I don't have like a personal assistant to run around and fact check for me, I'm just going to take you at the word. But I actually do believe it was his second shot. But still, it was a great match. I don't think it was Davey's strongest match in MLW, but definitely worth a solid mention. I actually toyed around with that one on my list. I had it down to 10, and that was like number 8 on my list. It's one of my honorable mentions because I know you have your top 5 plus your honorables. So
yes.
it almost made the honorable, almost just like right there, but I had to cut it at the end. But I don't hate the decision. I do like that match. I actually went back. It was exciting preparing for this. I went back through some of the old content that I never really watched because I got into MLW hard when we started doing the podcast, but I was always in and out for a little bit. Yeah. But I think 2017, 2018, I was really, really invested in MLW. Then I kind of took a little bit of a break just because life got in the way. But that was one of the few matches, the last couple matches I remember actually watching live, not like when it was airing. I remember watching it, and it was a solid match for sure. But I mean, when you're going up against a Samoan werewolf, man, he steals the spotlight at almost every turn.
Oh yeah, he does.
No way around that, man.
That's why he's the longest reigning MLW heavyweight champion, man. For that reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for that reason. My number 2, because I'm a fan of catch wrestling and a little bit technicalities, and that was Tom Lawler versus Timothy Thatcher. I actually enjoyed that one. That match, that was a good match. Fucking like catch wrestling up the ass, because it's like you have Thatcher, who is a pro in that shit, and you obviously have Lawler, who's a mixed martial art, a fighter, just mixing it up. Fuck, I loved it. I enjoyed it. People who don't enjoy it, because I know there's some fans who are like, it's kind of boring. It's kind of this. Like, no, you want to know your knowledge and knowing how to dance with your partner in the ring, especially this match. It's a must-see, in my opinion, to get, especially if you're going to be doing some catch wrestling in the ring with, with your dance partner. So I would recommend to see that match. And of course, my number 1, Myron Reed versus Leo Rush, Part 1.
Part 1. All right.
That was the match for me that I enjoyed.
Part 1 was solid. Part 1 was a great story all around. And it was great because we saw Myron drop the title. So we knew that Reed versus Rush 2 was inevitable. So one was definitely a great story. One highlighted more of Rush than it did Reed because he eventually went on to win. But still, I love the number 1 pick. I actually love all 5 picks. I'm not gonna disagree with any of them or hate on them. I appreciate them and love them. And I love how you went back. My list is a little bit more current, but I love how you took a deep dive back. I do have a couple older matches, but man, your list was solid, dude, all around. Well done.
Thank you.
And to anybody else in the Circle Debate podcast, just go back and watch this man's list. If you want to get into MLW, watch it because it's worth it. Like I've been saying for a long time since we started this podcast, don't sleep on MLW because they're not just a sideshow. They're not something you catch here and there. They are a legitimate player in wrestling. I would actually put them North American wise. I would put them straight up in the top 5 of promotions that's out there. Not in any particular order, but I would put them in the top 5 for sure. And even internationally, before you might want to put them in like a top 10 scenario. Internationally, myself, and I guess I'm biased for sure, but internationally, I would put them in my personal top 5. Again, my personal. Not saying it's stats, it's not the legit list, but my personal, I would put them internationally top 5 for sure.
I agree.
Hey, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I agree because the fact that not only that, MLW has a lot of relationships that people are not familiar with. Pro Wrestling Noah, IWA, and with CML, AAA, even New Japan at the time, even maybe All Japan. I mean, so Court Bauer, now what he's doing, and Dragon Gate now, yeah. So
these are what I'm saying is that Tony Khan didn't open the forbidden door. Court Bauer actually had the door cracked open for quite some time.
That one I'm gonna have to debate with you on that one. I can tell you who actually opened the forbidden door that does not get credit, and that is,
I love it.
That is Mr. David Marquez, the one who's running Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, the United Wrestling Network. He's the one that opened those forbidden doors, allowing talent from AEW, MLW, Ring of Honor, any promotion out there, NWA as well. He used to collaborate with NWA, so people don't give Mr. Marquez the credit that he, you know, he doesn't look for it. But when I had him on a show last year, he was the Forbidden Door man. He had the tournament, for God's sakes, with even New Japan people involved. So
that's right. That's right. You know what, Ivan? I'm gonna shut the fuck up because you own that one for sure. Oh, shut up, Rob. Just shut up, Rob. No, but he
engrave a fucking plaque to commemorate this occasion.
Listen, I am the first one to admit when I am wrong. When I was on Turnbuckle Tavern, again, not to just because it was recent, I had to bring a question to the table. My question was, who's benefited the most during the first year of the Forbidden Door, if you will, being open? Who's benefited and who hasn't benefited? And I, right off the bat, because my heart is so invested in Impact and MLW, I said that they really haven't benefited. Whereas one of the Turnbuckle guys was very quick to correct me and say, what do you mean Impact hasn't benefited? Ratings go up when Kenny's there and pay-per-view buys go up. And yes, they do. I'm just old school in the way that I feel like Kenny's title reign in Impact shouldn't have been as long as it has been. And I'm hoping that changes tonight. Because again, I appreciate Sammy Callahan's ability. I don't always think he's the greatest on the mic. And I know he's had backstage issues with his attitude. But I love the way they're promoting it. Not the hero you want, but the hero you need. So it's Impact pretty much saying, listen, we know not everybody's going to love it if we put the title on Sammy, but right now we need it. We need that Impact title to be back on a member of the Impact roster, a signed member, not somebody who just comes in for shows there and there. And it just sucks because I feel bad because when you look at Impact's numbers, when they do spike, Kenny's on TV. As soon as Kenny leaves TV, all the AEW faithful, they swap over or they leave. And I get it. I'm not saying that
those aren't the fans that keep you in business long term. Those are the fans that just go with whatever's hot right now.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. I agree. Right? I agree.
Absolutely.
So
and that's
the
where,
real
that's
wrestling
where the guys
fans like us. We're the ones that are like recognizing, you know, this is good for Impact. Like I knew right away it was going to be good for Impact.
And the guys from Turnbuckle, they enlightened me to that. They said, listen, man, at the end of the day, business is business. Money's coming in, ratings are up. Sponsorships are up, commercial sales are up, everything's up for Impact. And when Kenny's not on the program or Don's not on the program, it hurts them. I just wish the door would be cracked open a little bit more because we've only seen Private Party one time on Impact. We see the Good Brothers on AEW all the time, much like Kenny is on Impact. I just wish the rosters would mishmash just a little bit more. That's what I need.
You look at almost any interpromotional relationship, it tends to work the same way. There's a bigger promotion and maybe a smaller promotion. Now, I don't mean that in a disparaging way. That's just like the way it is. And in this case, AEW is the bigger promotion, Impact's the smaller promotion. So AEW gets to make their stars look stronger by going over on the Impact guys. Impact kind of loses
some more exposure.
They get the more exposure and maybe they get some more eyes on the product. Because you talk to people about Impact TNA, all everyone ever talks about is, remember how awesome TNA used to be when they had Kurt Angle and they had Sting and they had this guy and they had that guy. And like, what happened to Impact? I'm like, well, it's different, but it's still really fucking good. Like, I enjoy watching Impact. I think they have a great roster and I think they put out some great shows. Sometimes they're not the greatest, but overall, I enjoy watching Impact. Right. So I think there's room for all. I think interpromotional relationships are good for everybody. And I hope we see a lot more of it, and I hope MLW does a lot more of it too. I would love to see MLW getting in on this with Impact and AEW and whoever else. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Definitely.
Everybody all over the place.
Yeah.
Give us some dream matches.
Exactly. Absolutely. I agree 100%. You're on the money. You're
on the money. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I agree. I'm not debating with you, Rob. I agree. So you don't need to commemorate a plaque, motherfucker. When I'm wrong, that's it, straight up. And I've been wrong before. And even if you watch that Turnbuckle episode that drops on Tuesday, as soon as they both presented their points, I was like, damn, guys, I'm going to shut the fuck up. I went in hot. I was like, fuck that, Impact's getting screwed. And they were like, nah, you're wrong. And they laid it out, and I was like, damn, I'm just going to take my tail, and I'm going to leave. All right? So when I'm wrong, I admit it. Now, who's going next? Should I go next? I think I should.
Sure.
But your list was solid.
Yeah. I only had one honorable mention now because it was really good.
I was going to ask, what's the honorable? What do you got?
Well, it's Myron Reed versus Laredo Kid. That one I didn't enjoy.
I like it.
That was the time when I believe, I think it was like 2020. It was when I think, Injustice, how Myron was Injustice and the Laredo Kid. I actually enjoyed it. you can't go wrong with Laredo Kid, and it's an unfortunate that he doesn't get also the credit as well. Yes, we see them in AEW, just briefly Dynamite, but I reminded everyone that Laredo Kid, watch him in AAA. The kid's phenomenal, man, and especially in MLW, he knocks it off the park in MLW for sure. And I mean, he delivers, and he definitely delivers. And
that's one of the reasons why I believe AAA, out of everyone that they could have brought over, because they have a great roster themselves, they selected him to be the guy to go over. And they actually, what I loved about them is that they let him defend his cruiserweight title on the product. Much like, NWA, when they were running shows, they allowed Thunder Rosa to flourish over there, and Thunder Rosa to defend the NWA title and even have the rematch at the AEW pay-per-view between her and Serena Deeb, or her and Allison Kay. So the great thing about this inter-promotion stuff is that like what I learned again a couple weeks ago is that NWA was one of the companies that really profited the most, not profited, but really gained the most out of this Forbidden Door thing, because while they weren't running shows, they were still being represented on other companies. Billy Corgan allowed, or it said to Tony, yeah, let's do it, like highlight the women. And it was smart because it kind of bigged up the women's division. And now it's made Thunder Rosa a bona fide star that we already knew she was. And she already was in a lot of wrestling fans' minds. It's just a lot of those AEW faithful, they had no idea who she was. Because she wasn't getting... They learned. But they learned. That Lights Out match, they fucking learned.
Oh, yeah, they fucking learned for sure. And especially her getting her TV, her exposure on TV, she hardly got that. Now she did with AEW. AEW, I'm glad for her. So I mean, and it's the same how Laredo Kid doesn't get much exposure in the States, being more with AAA. Now that because of Court Bauer putting him in MLW, he got a lot of exposure. What do you think, AEW? Hey, we need you over here to work with us too, pal. All right, we'll go work. At least a lot. That's one thing that once again I say that MLW does not get credit. It's like it distributes a lot of these talents that are like, holy shit, I've never heard of this talent before. But go back to the history. That's why I say go back to MLW. This is where they came from. People don't know. Some people do not understand that, and it's like I said, it's unfortunate that they don't get credit what it deserves. Like they give more Ring of Honor credit than MLW, for God's sakes. But remind you that it should be also MLW on the talks as well, because like I said, they're the ones who kind of help finding these upcoming these talents, like even Isaiah Swerve Scott, who was formerly known as Shane Strickland. He was there as well. I mean, come on, people don't get it, man. But I digress.
I agree with you fully, and it's also like you got to think like wrestlers that are coming from other countries, like when you bring them over, you're not only this is someone different that you haven't seen, but you're literally helping these people, because that's how they gain new fans. And when they gain new fans want to see them wrestle, and they tell the promoters, I want to see you bring this guy over. And that's how people's careers get furthered. Right? If you've got 20 people in your roster and all you ever do is have the same 20 people wrestle, that's great for those 20 people, but are you helping the business as a whole? Whereas all these interpromotional stuff, they're bringing in new people, bringing new eyes onto people. That's how I learned about. I don't know who the hell Laredo Kid was before I saw him on AEW. Now I'm like, oh, Laredo Kid, he's one of the best freaking luchadors out there, man. Like Laredo Kid is dope. So it's that contribution to the business and to the careers of these people that maybe people don't realize that that's what happens when you book these kind of shows and book people from other promotions.
Yeah, and people don't know that MJF. His attitude came from MLW when he was running that dynasty, and people don't understand that. They think, oh, he was born in AEW. No, it wasn't. It was in MLW that it was born, where his character, his persona, that egotistical, frat boy, like just
salt of the earth, baby,
salt of the earth.
MJF is so good that we have my other podcast, Stogie Mania. We have a shirt that we get all the AEW people. Whenever we see an AEW person, we get them to sign it. So we've got like everybody on there, and we get MJF to sign it. And he looks at the shirt, he looks at us, he takes the marker, he writes "fuck you" on the shirt and hands it back to us. Not even "fuck you" MJF, just "fuck you" and handed it back.
Love it. I love it. I love it. He don't break kayfabe. I fucking love it.
Fucking
I love that. I don't give a shit what everybody says. That video of him giving the kid the middle finger during the picture.
Oh yeah, I don't give a shit.
That is keeping kayfabe to the fullest, and that's what a lot of wrestling fans now don't understand. The curtain wasn't as far back. The curtain is non-existent now. But for a long time, that's the way it worked. If you saw a heel out in the world, they couldn't say hi to you. They couldn't take a picture. They weren't supposed to.
They couldn't even ride in the same car.
Exactly. But a lot of them did. And I've interviewed, I've interviewed some of the classic old school guys, and Barry Horowitz told me, like, listen, dude, I used to roll around with freaking, Taker when he was, dark. And people didn't like Taker didn't get over as a face for a long time. So a heel when he started. But then, as he progressed once he got his first title run, then the face kind of switched over. But I mean, it's funny when you hear, thank God my Cadillac DeVille was tinted because, I couldn't really have, Callaway in the back seat with me in the front seat. But thank God I got it tinted. It's like, all right, Barry, you got it. All right, but Ivan, your list was solid, bro. You should have gone last because I don't think I can follow you, but I'm going to try my hardest.
I got to save my guest host for last. So I'm going to let Mr. Mckay take over on this one. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, brother. Okay, so number 5, Reed versus Rush 1. I'm going 5-1 here. Reed versus Rush 1. Number 5 for me was great. It built up to what I wanted, and that's even if you go back to the archives of MLW Rewind, that's one of the things I stated. I was so happy when Leo Rush won the first battle because I knew I would get a sequel, and I knew that this sequel, much to what a lot of the world will say, a sequel never outdoes the original, but the sequel did, and it's a little bit higher on my list. But for my number 5, Reed versus Rush 1, solid all around. Love that match. Number 4 was actually, again, Leo Rush versus Laredo Kid for the Triple A, as you called it, cruiserweight title, which was another great match. And it's the time that we saw, Leo Rush rock those 2 belts on MLW TV. He ended up winning that match, but what a story that was told. And again, it showcased how amazing Rush is to hang with a luchador and actually beat the luchador for a recognized, luchador title. And it was great. And Laredo Kid put up one hell of a fight. Just wasn't his night that night, but that's my number 4 for sure. Number 3, I went back, but not as far back as you did, but 2020, love stipulation matches when they're done correctly. And Sammy Callahan versus Pentagon Jr. in the Mexican death match.
I forgot about
that. That was a solid match.
Yes.
I love that story. I love how Pentagon took it there. He kicked it to another level, and he kept up with the darkness that is Sammy Callahan and how violent Callahan can get when he needs to. Yes. And again, stipulation matches, I'm kind of iffy on them, but when they're done correctly, they deliver. In MLW specifically, there are some horrible stipulation matches that I would never show a new fan MLW. I would never expose them to the Aztec Jungle fight or to the Barclay Brawl. They shot it in the back of the MLW facility near the garbage dumpster. The only good thing about that match was the cameraman saying, "Holy shit, Alex, we got to get the fuck out of here." That was the only thing that was good. Everything else completely forgettable. So if you're a new MLW fan, do not watch the Aztec Jungle fight or the Barclay Brawl. They are horrible cinematic stipulation matches. Do not. But this Mexican death match from 2020 delivered for me on so many levels. It's when I started getting back into MLW, and I loved everything about this match. Another great stipulation match, or I should say, not so much cinematic, but very stipulated. I enjoyed it. A lot of people shit all over it. But the Von Erichs versus Team Filthy in the chain ropes match. I loved the concept of it. For a first time ever seeing something like that, and I'm sure it's been done before, but that was the first time I ever laid my eyes on it. This is my number 2 pick. I enjoyed this match for what it was because the chains were used in an advantage, and what it did was it made 4 wrestlers who are very technical go to the ground because you can't do Irish rips. You can't do high-flying maneuvers with the chain ropes match. There's no give on those chains. And when you see Marshall Von Erich, the beast that he is, get dropped on his nutsack on 3 chains, it's painful. It's painful, and you feel it. You feel it in your cojones. Like whenever you see a soccer player get kicked in the nuts, the first thing a guy does is grab his sack because he feels that little ting. When I saw the 7-foot Marshall Von Erich get dropped on those chains, the atomic drop on those chains, I was like, Jesus Christ, if he wanted children, that's now off the table. It's gone. He literally got a free vasectomy because there is no coming back from that.
I think they must tape their shit up when they know they're taking those bumps.
I'm sure they do.
But they put double cups. Double cups.
Still, the sell. It was all about the sell. When you saw Marshall's face, I wanted to cry for him because I'm like, Jesus. And I grabbed my nuts. I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. I feel this pain right now. So even though a lot of people didn't like the concept of it, I enjoyed that chain ropes match. And I hope they bring that back. If anything, they should make that kind of a Von Erich staple and call it the Texas chain rope match. So that, because they're from Texas, or call it the Honolulu chain ropes match, because you're from Texas and you're Texas proud, but you cut all your promos in Honolulu. Just saying. So, anything that they could do to make that a stipulation, or like a Von Erich staple match would be great. I want to see more of those chain rope matches. I enjoyed it. And my number one pick, I will give after I give my honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Gino Medina versus Gringo Loco. I love me some Gringo Loco.
Oh, yeah.
One of Gino's returning matches early this year. I believe it was in February when this match happened. And it set up kind of the build and feud that we never really finished with those two. It kind of just sidestepped when Gino started running the program against Richard. But I hope that we get to see the final outcome between Gringo. I would love to see Gringo kind of interfere with Gino versus Richard and maybe set up a triple threat of some kind, because Gringo Loco is a special talent. I had the honor to sit down with him on MLW, and he's a great, great talent. Go back and watch that interview. He's one of the most humble guys in the world, and he's also fucking hilarious. He's says some funny, truthful shit. And I want to see more. I want to see more of him versus Gino if we can ever get that program running again. I'd love to see if Gino ever does, get a shot in that Caribbean Championship world and is able to take it from King Muertes, which is probably not going to happen for a while. But if he could somehow steal it and somehow run a program with Richard and Gringo in some kind of triple threat situation, I would love to see that. But yeah, that's one of my honorable mentions. Another honorable mention for me is Battle Riot 1. Because Battle Riot, the first Battle Riot was different for me. The way they explained it, the fact that you could throw somebody over the top, you could pin them, you could submit them. Just go back and watch that first Battle Riot. It was literally chaos, because you see people trying to pull stipulations. Like there's one point in the match where I can't remember who the wrestlers are specifically, but somebody's trying to give somebody a crossface. There's two people trying to pin somebody else, and three dudes in the corners trying to throw people over. You literally, as a fan in that match, it's like watching a tennis match. You got to keep your head on a fucking swivel, man, because you're like, oh, okay, somebody's submissioning somebody there. Oh, there's a pin there. Oh, somebody's going over the top. You're fucking exhausted after a Battle Riot. So the first Battle Riot for me was awesome to see something new and fresh and different, because we've had those style Royal Rumble style matches, but it's always just somebody going over the top. But to add the pinning aspect and the submission aspect made it something new and different. Yeah, okay, we're going to take this idea here, but we're going to add the classic aspects of wrestling and make it different. And the first Battle Riot for me was so enjoyable. I could go back and watch that all the time. And my number one, is no surprise if you listen to my number 5. My number 1 is Reed versus Rush 2, because the sequel surpassed the original, and it was such a great way to end the season finale and give Reed back his title.
See Leo off in terms of his
see Leo off in the sunset.
Yeah.
For sure, but it was, if you're Leo Rush and you're gonna go out, that's a high note to go out on. You cannot have a better exit match than that match against a better opponent, as well as a good friend. Like they're friends, they're colleagues outside of the business. And if you're gonna dance with anybody, those two are made to dance forever. If Rush ever chooses to come back, and it's not like he's like 50 and he can't wrestle anymore, he could choose to come back anytime he wants, and there might be a return in the future. Who knows?
Yeah,
but if he does
retire
come back,
doesn't mean much in the wrestling world.
No, it doesn't. You could retire and then just switch promotions. Stink. So all I'm saying is that don't close the door on Reed versus Rush 3, even if it's not for a title, because these two guys are two guys I believe are destined to dance forever. Wherever they end up, they're destined to dance forever. And another honorable mention that was really hard for me. I wanted to put it in my top 5.
How many honorable mentions you have?
Because I know how Ivan works. I had to have something in the can in case somebody stole something. But my last honorable mention is Calvin Tankman versus Jacob Fatu. Never say never.
I forgot about that match.
And that one
I did. Yeah, that was a great match. Yes.
The only thing about that match that bothered me, and I stated it in the podcast, was the finish. I didn't think Jacob Fatu needed to get the interference from Davari. I didn't think he needed to use the flag. I think he could have beat Calvin Tankman, but they did it that way, and I get it. I get why they did it that way.
It's a heel move, man. It's contra.
It's a heel move, 100%. And I don't hate it. I just wish that I would have seen Jacob Fatu put him clean in the ring, because that, to me, would have established even more dominance than he's already shown.
Not only that, it would have put Calvin over too. Honestly, it would have put him over as well. That match itself.
It did. It raised Calvin Tankman's stock for sure. Heavyweight hustle became legitimized after that battle with Jacob Fatu. But I just wish that, because it would have been nice, because Fatu would have cut a promo the next week saying, yeah, Tankman, you took me to the limit, but I still prevailed. Hell, Contra. Like something like that. Short, sweet, simple. But the fact is that match was a tough one. I wanted it to make my list, but the chain ropes match, I just felt my heart needed to be on my list because I wanted to showcase the potential of that match. But that's my top 5 plus my 3 honorable mentions because I understand how Circle of Debate works. And now let's welcome the rookie to take the fucking floor because he's never been here before and doesn't understand the ideas and how it works. You got to have something in the tank.
Rookie of the year, son.
Talking about to have something in the tank. Right?
Talking about practice still?
No, I'm saying you got to have something in the tank. That's why you got to have the 3 honorable. Listen, I learned the first time because the first time that I did this, I was unprepared. I just brought my 5 matches, and then I was like, George, I love your list. What is your honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions is the list I just did.
Let's go. Let's go, Rob. The floor is yours. You
in no particular. Fuck. All right. This would be Uncle Bobby B's list in no particular order. We're looking at Alexander Hammerstone against Davey Boy Smith Jr. at Super Fight. I believe that was a year or 2 ago. And they just beat the living shit out of each other.
Yes,
it was brilliant.
That wasn't a fight. That was a war.
That was a war, bro. And you want to talk about like war, like shit. It kind of reminds me of like a New Japan fucking match, honestly. Because
I love that fight. Yeah, they just beat the piss out of each other. They didn't need light tubes, and they didn't need none of that. They just beat the shit out of each other, and I loved it. Nice to see Davey Boy Jr. back for WWE, making an appearance yesterday. That was pretty awesome. So good for him. Next up, now I love me some flippy shit. I'm a big flippy shit guy. Ever since I was a kid. Watching WCW, Eric Bischoff brought in all those cruiserweights that I had never seen before, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Psychosis and Juventud Guerrera and all those guys. So I love been a fan ever since. So I got Injustice, which included Cotto Brazil, against Gringo Loco, Airwolf, and the aerial artist himself, Zenshi. Yeah, if you're a flippy shit guy, this is your thing. Like it was just sequences and all kinds of brilliant stuff, and all those guys can go. Big fan of that kind of stuff, and that's one of the things I love about MLW is you got a little bit of everything, and what they do have again, it's quality. They've got luchadors that are really good, and they've got guys that are just brawlers that are really good brawlers. They don't have like 30 guys where like 10 of them are in, 10 of them are okay, and then the other 10 are good. It's like just quality. Next up, let's go back to the first episode ever of MLW Fusion. We've got Austin Aries against ACH.
Oh shit! I forgot about that match.
Not going to be involved in wrestling anymore. I believe he's retired as well. But this was Austin Aries. Regardless of what you think about him, that guy's a consistent, fantastic performer. Even George and I were watching him at GSW, and he was in. I think was it a 4-man match, George? Fatal 4-way?
It was a tag match. It was him and Ricky Reyes versus Super Nitro and Gio Galvano.
Yes, that is it. And like. I was thinking, okay, Austin, he's like a vet now and stuff like that. No, that kid was that dude was taking bumps. He was bumping hard for those guys. He was selling hard for those guys. I was real impressed with him. And Austin's always a consistent performer. So going back to those two, it was a great way to kick off Fusion as a whole, and just a fantastic match, just a great wrestling match, period. ECH, one of those guys, he can.
Side note on Austin Aries is that him and Gio are going up for in August, the pay-per-view coming in August, and that's going to be a match that steals the show, and that's going to be a match that is going to open the world's eyes to Gio and how fantastic he is.
Yes,
100%. And Austin Aries is going to do a great job of being a ring general and showcasing this future. Gio Galvano is the future of this business, and GSW is smart to highlight him and showcase him because he is that damn good. And if you don't know, then all you got to do is just pay $15 and watch it in August 22nd, and I think 22nd. If I'm right.
Yeah, with Austin too, he's at the point in his career now where he's gone places and done things. I think he just wants to kind of help out the next generation and put these.
Yeah, he just wants to guys over. Yep.
Right, because he's got other things going on besides wrestling. It's not his entire life. So if he can put people over and you're willing to pay his rate, I know for a fact the way Austin Aries works is, here's my rate, I cover my travel and everything else. You pay my rate, I get myself there, and I perform. So if you're gonna pay his rate, you're gonna get a solid performance out of Austin Aries.
Absolutely.
Next up, I think it's a testament to the quality of Jacob Fatu that he's on all of our lists, because I've got Jacob Fatu versus LA Park.
Oh shit!
Again,
Yes, that was a good match.
It's another one. Get out of each other. Like LA Park, like his mask was like hanging off, and it was just a brawl, and I loved it. Those two guys can go. Like Jacob Fatu, so good, man, so good, so good. I don't think people realize. And it's sad because MLW is really good, and I just feel like for whatever reason they fly under the radar because there's so much other stuff going on with wrestling right now. But man, people who aren't watching MLW, I will put MLW matches, segments, anything up against any of those other companies in the world, man, and they hold up as far as I'm concerned.
It's not the Barclay brawl.
What's that?
Just not the Barclay brawl.
Yeah,
not the Barclay brawl. No,
and not the
that's what the early 2000s was. Now, I mean, I know he was
been doing the past couple years. It's on fire. I'm sorry, like it's amazing, and I'm sad I didn't watch MLW before this. I started watching when George kind of brought me on, and I had to go back and watch. And I was like, God damn, like why doesn't anybody talk about this, or more people talk about it? You know what I mean? Right. And then my last one is me and George are the same one. I went with Reed Rush too, because I watched Reed's promo for that. And based on that promo alone, even if I knew nothing about what had gone on between them before, that promo alone made me want to watch that match, and it did not disappoint. Two guys with great chemistry. They put on a fantastic match. They were entertaining. The psychology was there. Sad that Leo Rush won't be working anywhere, but I'm a huge Myron Reed fan, so I can't wait to see where this dude's career goes. And honorable mentions.
How many you got, Rob? How many you got?
My honorable mention would be to you two gentlemen. I'm very honored to be on this podcast with you, and I'm going to mention that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I fucking hate you.
Oh my god. Oh, God. We gotta have Rob. We gotta have Rob more on these top fives, man. We gotta have him more often.
Oh, I'm always
absolutely
down.
No. Rob is a side note, not to be a schmo, but Rob is a great dude. Been a friend of mine for a long time, and it just fit. It just fit like a glove. He slid right in, and it's been a great journey. And also, having somebody the same age as me, right? Like it was hard working with somebody in their 90s because fuck,
dude, I'm
man.
38 tomorrow.
Fuck yeah, I'm gonna be 38 in November. But seriously, working with somebody in their 90s so hard. Like I could only record between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. because he had to take a nap at 4:30, and then he's got his Ovaltine drink at 5.
I thought he had to get the early dinner special at 4 so he could like get to bed by 7.
No, he naps. Yeah, but don't forget, it's COVID, right? So the early bird special kind of stretches now. It goes like 4 to 6, so you have time. You have time on the early bird special. I think you do. But no, Lewis, I love you, Lewis. I mean, you're old, but I love you. Depends are on sale at Shoppers, by the way. Go.
By the way, Lewis, go look up ODB, the wrestler. Go look up her father because you are the image, dude.
I'm gonna look for that shit. I need to see it.
George, send Ivan the picture I sent you.
Oh man, send it on the chat. Send it on the chat, Facebook. I need to see
we're going to. We'll send it right after. It's scary. Like it's like ODB and her dad. But the unfortunate thing is that her dad is taller. So that is where it gets a little confusing.
But it freaking looks like Lewis. I just sent it in the chat. But it's scary. Oh man, I saw that and I was like, Lewis? And then I read the caption and it was like with my dad, and I'm like, Lewis? Like I was
holy shit! And Lewis like Lewis
old, but he can't be that old. Lewis
Lewis would be watching it, but I'm sorry, Lewis. That shit does look like Lewis. Like, is that Lewis?
Told you.
Oh shit! Holy shit! Oh my god!
Oh,
that does look like. Oh, shit.
So here's a question. Here's a question that we never get to ask these questions on our show. But what would you say it was? Because Ivan, you and I have been watching MLW for a long time. What was the match that made you want to continue, or maybe even made you fall in love with the MLW product? I know that the first time for me was when I was flipping through, scrolling through YouTube, just checking stuff out. You go down that rabbit hole, and I saw early MJ. I saw the forming of the dynasty when it happened. I caught one of those clips, and I was like, I don't know who these fucking three dudes are, but I want to pay attention now. And also, too, another side note, great storyline for me that actually hooked me was very early on when MJF was chasing Arya Blake. She had that kind of little love triangle shit that was going down. When I sat down with her, we talked about that and how much fun it was to play off those two guys and how much chemistry there was in that storyline, and it was great. But those were like the two moments for me where I kind of like, I got to pay a little bit more attention, and then I kind of drifted away and went back. But MLW has always kind of been inconsistent for me. Whenever something in wrestling just got too much for me, like the WWE product got too stale, or AEW wasn't around at the time, or even Impact got very stale for me. MLW was always consistent. I would always go back, and that's a great thing.
And it's funny how you said about Impact, how it went stale. It did, because by the time that 2017 was for Impact, at that year was not the best, because that was
I
when
thought they were going to fold. I really did. I heard WWE was looking at buying
they were this
catalog
close
for the network, right? They were like the deal was there, but then again, Scott D'Amore, Gail Kim, Don Callis, they kind of breathed new life into what we and again, Impact. Another thing Impact doesn't get, I know this is an all MLW podcast, but a lot of, like you said, MLW doesn't get credit for introducing these new faces, but also Impact and MLW don't get credit for breaking down barriers.
Yes.
Like MLW was a promotion that as much as they had stars, they didn't have stars at that time, but they were developing new talent and giving new talent a platform to work off of, not just indie shows. Giving them an actual televised product, teaching them how to work with the camera, how to perform in front of the camera, how to perform in front of a bigger crowd. Because MLW, I don't want to say this, but MLW indie-wise had one of the bigger indie crowds. MLW was almost, I want to say, near the platform. And again, I'm not trying to, throw shade or cause heat. I can already see Rob's eyes. He's licking his lips, getting ready to debate with me.
I'm like, oh shit, who are you burying?
I'm not burying asshole. MLW for me. When I discovered MLW, they were like ECW to me. They were that little sister that was blossoming and growing into something fantastic, and I was just enjoying the ride. That's what I would kind of compare it to.
That sounds kind of perverted. Oh. Talking about somebody's little sister blossoming.
I'm talking about the little sister. Oh my god! I'm talking about the little step, like the little sister in wrestling. You fucking goomba.
Okay, sure.
Dude, I have two daughters. Let's not go there.
I know. I just love fucking with you, dude.
Come on, man. That's I don't appreciate that at all. But anyway,
good.
But again, it takes a perverted mind to discover that, right? I was being innocent.
Takes one to know one.
Maybe you shouldn't come over to my house anymore, bro. Anyways, fact is that to me, that's what it was. It was that like little unknown secret. There, we'll flip the wording. It's that little secret that was there, but wasn't fully there, much like ECW. When I discovered ECW, it was just getting to that point. So with MLW, it was the same thing for me. They were already established, but I discovered them for the first time, and I had to work my way up. But they've always been inconsistent, and that was one of the things I loved about MLW very early on, developing these new stars. Yeah. And they don't get the credit they deserve, but also Impact. My point was Impact, again, breaking barriers. First female world heavyweight champion. Yes. First time we ever see an intergender on TV. Yes. We've seen it in indie shows a bunch of times because it is an indie staple. It's an indie thing. But to see it on national television was huge. To see it on pay-per-view. Like, go back and look through the record books. The pay-per-view when it was her versus Sammy, when she won the title, was one of Impact's highest rated pay-per-views ever in the whole history of the company. And they've been around for, like I said, 20 to 30 years, somewhere in that bracket, right? From when they started to when they had their peak to when they kind of fell off. And now they're just kind of there. They're in the mix.
Well, you want to hear an interesting fact? Since
not if it's trying to twist my words and make
I'm not twisting your words. Since 2019, okay, when AEW started, WWE has released or let the contract expire of 98 wrestlers. AEW has signed 14 of them. Impact has signed 10 of them. In that same time span, WWE has signed 11 former Impact wrestlers.
Yes.
So WWE has actually pulled more from Impact over the past 3 years than Impact has pulled from ex-WWE. Very interesting.
You know, that's interesting because you would look at now. I want to ask this question because you said AEW has only signed 14 of these 89. You said 89 or 98?
98.
So they've signed only 14 of this 98. But what about, does that include like the legends, like the guys who are working backstage, like your big shows, like your Mark Henrys? Can we?
No, I think this
that
is
number
strictly
in the
wrestler.
list?
I think this is strictly wrestling, not including backstage staff
where would
or
you
like
put
like
Christian
non-wrestling staff.
Because Christian
Cage
was
is wrestling. He's
No,
wrestling.
I
He's
know,
in a
but-
feud with Matt Hardy.
right. No, I get that. I know that. That's not my point. I'm just saying because Christian Cage was not under contract with WWE.
Well, no, he's so this stat
I'm saying,
only
where would you
factors
put him?
in those whose contracts were expired or released
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
98 though, that's
98.
insane, right?
98, like actual wrestling talent, not backstage people, not
98
referees, not writers.
wrestlers.
So how many? I wonder what the number is of how many people they've released it, like the referees, the writers, the producers,
You
the
gotta
bookers.
remember too, there's like people at the performance center that like never get beyond the performance center kind of thing, right? So they'll be there, they might not ever wrestle a show, they're training for whatever reason, they get let go. So I'm sure there's a bunch of those that got counted in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Most likely they did.
So Ivan, back to my original question or point though, what was the moment where you fell in love with MLW?
I've been a Pentagon fan for quite some time. So I mean, when I saw the first match, I think it was like the revival when it was him and Ray Phoenix.
Yes.
That was the first episode for Fusion. But then later on, like when you mentioned him and Sammy Callahan, I'm like, oh, okay, yep, I'm in love. From there, then I started watching. That's how I discovered Hammerstone. Then low key at the time when he was there, I think he was a heavyweight champion before Jacob Fatu was. I don't remember about when I began to watch it. Then from there I discovered the Dynasty as well. I'm like, who the fuck is these guys? Like with this chick, and then the Hart Foundation. People forgot the new Hart Foundation: Brian Pillman Jr., Teddy Hart, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. You know, I enjoyed that as well too. I mean, they had a great run, and the Von Erichs too. And that's how I fell in love with it. But mainly it started with Pentagon because mainly I'm a big Pentagon fan. I've watched him in AAA, how it all evolved, and because my father, rest in peace, we will watch it when I was a kid. Besides WWF during the golden era, but we will also watch AAA. So got me more involved. And then, of course, the history of Pentagon. I'm not gonna go through it, but we already know the name, how he became Pentagon Jr. But from there, I fell in love with MLW. Then from there, I started discovering like Alex Hammerstone. But I followed Hammerstone during his tenure for Future Stars of Wrestling in Vegas when he started there as well. He did a couple of appearances in United Wrestling Network before, just shortly brief. And where else he did? I'm trying to remember. I think he did another one on the West Coast that he came out too. But that's how I fell in love with MLW. From there, I just started to get more involved and get to know the roster more, and then seeing the international stars, and which I forgot to mention, like a New Japan star was a former MLW heavyweight champion, and that was Kojima. Kojima was a former MLW champion. I'm like, wow, making my research, discovering more of the promotion got me more involved and loving it more. And because of you guys as well, covering it very well, briefly every week.
How much love for that, man. We try our best. And we can't wait to actually sit down and physically watch Battle Riot next weekend. And but next week is going to be a little bit packed for both of us because Ivan, can I make an announcement?
Absolutely. Yes.
Cool announcement. A couple weeks ago, I was approached by a great promotion here in Ontario, Hamilton Wrestling Entertainment, very close with the two owners, Dave and AC, and I have been asked to join the commentary team. We're recording thank you. We're recording our first show back next weekend on the 24th. The air date is TBD at this point, but I know we're recording. Rob's going to be there helping me out with socials all that day. Also, the mini host is going to be on site doing a lot of 5 questions interviews because now she can finally sit down in person with wrestlers again. So she's so excited about that, and it's going to be a great day. So we won't be able to watch MLW maybe on that day, but we'll definitely catch up on the Sunday, and we'll give our consistence after that. But yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting for that. And thank you for the kind words about what we do. Because again, I can't take credit for the idea. The name of the show I can take credit for because I came up with it. My former co-host wanted to call it the MLW Review, and fucking horrible name. So
that's so just innovative and original. just creative, you know what I mean? Outside of the box thinking. What a name. What a name, Lewis. Like,
But
geez.
again, when he
Fucking
reached out,
Bob. I'm sorry, bro. Oh my god.
I live
I
in
love you, man.
sarcasm, bro.
Yeah. I'm falling. You're my BFF tattoo, bro. Just the fucking sarcasm, bro.
oh my god,
We love you, Lewis.
You should see it, that's how it is when we're recording. Like when we're recording, the sarcasm back, and there's even like we'll shoot the shit for 10 minutes before and like 10-20 minutes after, and the shit that we both say, it's like we're sometimes like we're of one mind, except my mind doesn't go to dark, decrepit places like this fucking asshole. But regardless of the fact,
go to dark, decrepit
so
places.
I could take credit for the name, but the idea, the concept, everything from what it developed was Lewis, and I give him credit for that all the time. And now he took a step back, Rob stepped in, and it's been a great run, and we're going to continue it because this is a product that we want to shine more eyes, and it's so cool because. Yes, there are other MLW podcasts out there. There's another great one that I recently discovered called Confusion, which MLW Confusion, which they're really good. So shout out to those, because if you don't like the MLW Rewind product, that's fine. No hate. We understand. Go over and check out Confusion because they're just as good. And right now, again, that's the only one other than us that really focuses solely based on the MLW product. We don't just mention it in our rundowns of the week. We don't just give it a 5-minute segment. We focus on it for 45 minutes to an hour. And we sit there and we talk about it. But when we come back fully after July 24th, we're going to change the format up a little bit. So the format's not going to be running through each match. We're just going to mention the match, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and then move on. Because the rundowns sometimes drag it out too long. And it's not. If you want to go back and watch the match, go back and watch the match after you hear what we have to say. Or just watch the match and then tune in to hear our opinions or voice your own opinions.
Right.
Follow Straight Shock on all the socials because we're up there, we're posting, we're active, and you can hit us up every time. And we will get back to you with our thoughts and opinions. You have something that you like that we said, hit us up. You have something that you don't like that we said, hit us up because we want to be interactive. We want to know what people think and like and don't like because Rewind has to keep evolving just like the MLW product. We can't stay stagnant. We got to come fresh. We got to come, focused every time, and we expect our fans to expect that from us. And if we let you down, you fucking call us out on it because at the end of the day, I don't throw shade. I'm straight up. I've always said that. And that's why Ivan and I have clicked. That's why the Dirty Heels and I have clicked. And I mention those guys consistently because there's backdoor shading that has happened from time to time, and those two podcasts in particular have stayed 100 with me, whereas other ones have dipped or gone quiet. That's fine. I'm not going to get into what the shade was. I'm not going to even mention that on the platform.
Jerry.
But the fact is that I know who I consider my friends in this community, and the podcast community, much like the wrestling community, is shady. It has a lot of ups and downs, peaks and valleys, but these two podcasts have been the consistent, and I appreciate you guys and love you guys for that, for the support that you have shown Straight Talk, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Now, here's the question I have for both of you. I mean, now we're seeing with this kind of like new rebrand of MLW, what is, especially one thing that I actually was intrigued when Court Bauer assigned a former founder of Shimmer Wrestling. This individual is going to bring the women's division very, very little by little. So people who are not, who are curious, don't sleep on it because this man has brought the names to like Ruby Riots. There's so many that he's done for Shimmer when he co-founded that years ago. For him now being added to MLW and try to build the women's roster, I am looking forward for that. And not only that, but also as well, shout out to also the Bodega, Danny Limelight, and the Slice Boogie that we both had at our shows, respectively, being the new LAX. I just wish Papa was involved, man, but I'm pretty sure Papa has his reasons. I don't know.
What about Conan? I mean, I thought he died. He's back on TV. That's amazing.
I know because he died. I don't know how many fucking times. 1,001 lives. Shit.
Well, we talked about that on the show, right? Like when Mel Mortis debuted and he just killed Conan.
Yeah.
The running joke was, well, if Hammerstone's got to fight Mel Mortis, he better be the man of 1,001 reincarnations because he has to reincarnate one more time, then Mortis could kill him.
Yeah.
You can't just be the man of 1,000 deaths. Somebody's got to beat you one by one. So the man of 1,001 reincarnations had to be Hammerstone in order to make it work. And luckily enough, Hammerstone didn't suffer one of these 1,000 deaths, but Conan did. Conan suffered it. And Selena De La Renta, who apparently, I don't know if it's rumored or not, but apparently she's either been signed or is at the Performance Center working with WWE. I haven't found 100% factual information on that, but that's why I heard she did not re-sign with MLW. Apparently she's been signed and picked up by WWE, which is great. She's great on the mic, and she does have great in-ring ability. I just hope they use her properly. So best of luck to Selena De La Renta. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you and Alicia out too, going back and forth.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's a badass feud as well.
Back and forth was hilarious. Oh Selena, oh my God, oh, Alicia, you're such a bitch. I loved it. That was the best thing on. And me and Lewis got involved in it. Like we got involved in it. We were bigging up. I was bigging up Alicia. He was going at Selena, and Selena was like, one of you is stupid, the other one is smart. So Selena De La Renta called me stupid. I'm okay with that. I'm still Team Alicia 150%. Canada first, baby. Canada first.
Ivan brings up a great point. The fact that MLW brought on who they brought on to set up this women's division, because if you don't know Shimmer, all the female wrestlers, most of them that you're watching these days that
come from there,
they all came through Shimmer at some point. Yes. All of them.
Yes.
So that shows that they're really committed to doing this. They're not just being like, okay, we're going to set up a women's division. I'll figure it out. They're like, no, we're going to bring in the guy who knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And
he's going to get this set up. And so it shows they're committed to it. I'm really looking forward to what MLW is going to do.
Oh, me too. And this is like the biggest question. I mean, does MLW should do two things? Which one would you, if you were in Corbauer's shoes, how would you promote this promotion? Add another extra hour. Normally, there's always an hour, but if you add another extra hour, or take that another hour and create another show for it throughout the week.
No,
that's my curiosity of what would you do with it.
I would say that Rob and I have talked about this at length. I would say give us an extra 30 minutes. So we don't need to go 2 hours. We don't need to create a separate sideshow because I think that diminishes the division. The division needs to be focused and highlighted,
integrated together.
So give me an extra 30 minutes, even if you want to be different, give me an extra 40 minutes. So let's go 1 hour 40. You're still not 2 hours. You're just a little bit longer than a half an hour, but give me at least a solid 90 minutes or more. Don't go past 145 in my honest opinion, but give me 90 minutes. And I think you have to bring in, again, who they brought in. He's going to highlight. He's already made for this division and he's going to do wonders. Again, you had, if you go back through the history of women's wrestling, the only promotions a lot of people remember would be Glow and then eventually Shimmer. And then, everybody got their division. Everybody was like, oh, we're evolving women. No, Shimmer did it first. Actually, Glow did it first. Glow broke down the doors. Then Shimmer, kicked the fucking door in.
Yeah.
And Shimmer had some of the most innovative shit. If you go back and watch it, catch anything on YouTube, those ladies put their heart and soul into it because they were passionate behind it, much like the mad genius Court Bauer is. So if I'm Court Bauer, I give it an extra 30 minutes. And Vice TV will grant that once they see the ratings come in because they already know what they already know what MLW can do for them. So that's why they offered them. They made the offer. They did the partnership. Everything's already in place there. Now they have a bigger platform for more eyes. So if you're going to highlight a women's division, give me 30 extra minutes, or like I said, 40 if you want to be a little different, and highlight it that way. But also too, bring in fresh faces. Bring in Aria Blake was kind of one of the only ladies.
You know who they need to bring in? And I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna shout out our local Jody Threat. Sign Jody Threat, Court Power. Sign Jody Threat.
Absolutely, Jody
She
Threat.
works for Shimmer already.
Yeah, Jody Threat is fantastic. Absolutely. I would also say to highlight another local Canadian girl, Alexia Nicole, Bubblegum Princess. I would even say if they can somehow work it. I mean, obviously. Masha's not a local girl, but Masha has been in Ontario before. Masha Slamovich is great talent. She was in my top when we did our own draft.
Oh, yeah.
Number one pick.
She is Zeta Zhang back too.
She is a business.
Yeah. Zeta, I would have definitely bring her back. I mean,
she's got charisma, man.
She got a lot.
She can carry that division. You know what I mean? She can be the face of your division.
Definitely.
And then also too, I mean, there's a lot of great female wrestling minds out there that could help coach and develop these ladies. Not like they aren't already fantastic, but just kind of teach them working with the cameras and
Well,
wrestling
you need
for
producers,
television.
no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're gonna make anybody a booker to throw a name into the ring, I would definitely throw in Jazz. I mean, Jazz is somebody who I could see helming this division, and also, again, there is a working relationship with MLW and Impact. So why not, again, bring Gail Kim over. Even if somehow they could work it, again, this is just an idea, but even if they somehow could work it with this, what ROH is doing right now with the women's division, the tournament is fantastic.
Can't
if
wait.
they could somehow work in with that ROH women's division, which is fantastic and is so underappreciated because it is one of the strongest women's divisions in wrestling. If they could somehow work that in, and get some of those up and comers like Trisha Dore, who's fantastic. I discovered her on GSW. She's an amazing talent, great up and comer. If they could somehow work that and make that kind of a working relationship, would be awesome. Lend some of the talent there to kind of bring in the talent that they see.
Right.
Also, to Aria Blake, once she welcomes baby TJP into the world. Enjoy your time off with your little one when you're ready and able to come back, because she's still so young and has a great career in front of her. I would love to see Aria Blake return because she is kind of one of the only women left in MLW that's a staple next to Alicia Altout, but Alicia Altout is a backstage correspondent, so she is not really ring ready. I don't know if she has any aspirations to be in the ring. I don't think so. But I mean, I know we asked her if her and Selena ever came down to that, would she step in the ring? And she said she would, just to bitch slap Selena. And I still would pay money to see that.
Well, and I mean, if MLW wants to bring in somebody to help with production and the booking of that women's division, I would throw the name Lufisto into the ring.
Oh, 100%.
Mhm.
Yes, great choice.
Agreed.
Canadian
100%.
Canadian legend, female wrestling pioneer over here, intergender wrestling pioneer for sure.
Yes.
A lot of experience and knowledge. I think that would be a solid pickup personally. Just put
Absolutely.
Canada over left, right, and center today.
Absolutely. Just pick Canada dry, because we need to get more eyes on what we have up here. The Great White North has some of the best talent in the world, and nobody really seems to notice it. There's
It's
a few
very
great
hard to get
talents out
noticed
there.
here. It
But
really
but
is.
what and all the red tape that we have to go through over here too is just disgusting. And I'm glad that there's a guy like Jeremy Prophet, you can catch him on Joe from the Ring, who highlights that all the time. Jeremy Prophet has become kind of a semi-pioneer for all of the struggling Canadian wrestling talent to help them get over the hurdle, because it really is like jumping through hoops. But even like when I've sat down with guys like Gallows and Anderson, they told me they used to hate coming here just because of all the fucking hoops they had to jump through just to get over here. It's like we're neighbors, but we treat each other like assholes, and I don't understand why.
It's because they don't want you taking jobs away from Americans, right? So if I'm
Okay,
going to
well,
go,
then
if
why
I'm going to
can't-
go
why-
to America,
Right,
it's the same here too. They don't want American wrestlers coming here taking jobs from Canadians.
right. But then again, you look at, again, to bring it to the fold, you look at one of the greatest wrestling capitals of the world being Japan, and they let everybody go over there. It's not about taking jobs, it's about highlighting the great competition that the world has. That's what we got to realize. I get the point. It's about no, you can't take jobs from us Americans, you can't take jobs from us Canadians. But at the end of the day, let them showcase and perform, because let's remember, when you're on the indies, a lot of times you're just making enough for gas money. It's not like we're taking a 40-hour a week paycheck.
Yeah.
I sympathize with the wrestlers. I feel for them.
I
But
do. Every time I go
used
to a
watch
show.
that border security show, and that's literally all this stuff is. It's like, it's people you got to get a work visa, and to get a work visa, you got to jump through hoops, and it sucks, but it is what it is.
It's an unfortunate, like, even not only just Canada, but also all over, like, in Europe as well. I mean, you see how Pac had issues of coming here to the States. It's hard. It's unfortunate that it has to be that certain level type of aspect to work at a promotion or to work overall. You need that visa, period. And
it's like you're coming here to work one show. You're not coming here to like stay and work as an electrician for the next 10 years.
Exactly right. Yeah.
You're coming over here to work one event. You're going back home.
But it's also unfortunate too that we don't have the scouting that's here. Like these wrestlers, even if they can't work over there, the big companies could send the scouts, could send people to look at what's down here, and then help them get the visas. When Josh Alexander got signed to Impact, I know they helped clear up a lot of the red tape for him, because that was one of the biggest stumbling blocks. So if you have the capabilities to have a legal staff on hand that can help clear up these issues, send your scouts down here. See what we have here in our back door.
I just got the greatest business idea ever. We find Canadian wrestlers and American wrestlers and help them arrange a marriage of convenience so they can each go over the border and work. We just broker illegal marriages for them to circumvent visa laws.
So
What could go
I'm
wrong?
not even paying any mind to that. I'm not paying any mind to that statement. This is a stupid fucking idea. I'm not paying any mind to it.
There's no
Anyway,
way this could get fucked up.
Well, yeah, exactly. Not. We've all seen the movie Green Card. We all know how it ends.
Yeah, we know how it is.
Dude gets fucking deported. Okay, like come on, people. But regardless of that stupid idea, send your scouts over here. Get your legal staff involved. Help these talents that is here get recognized.
They need to make
all the great talent. Like I want to see Gio Galvano here. I want to see the Suplex Assassin, Alex Kane here. I want to see Richard Holiday here. I want to see fucking Myron Reed here.
Yeah.
And I want to see some of our great talent. I want to see Black Lavender, Lionel Knight go up against Myron Reed. I want to see Gabriel Fuerza go toe-to-toe with Gringo Loco. Like, these are dream matches that I want to see. I want to see Holden Albright smack the coffee out of Richard Holiday's fucking mouth.
Yeah, I want to see
Speedball
Mike Bailey too, man. I want to see him too, man. I love Speedball, man.
We both drafted him. We both drafted him in our version of
the
draft.
Rob and I both perfect in MLW. Honestly,
exactly what I said.
Perfect.
And you imagine Speedball versus fucking Fatu?
Oh my god, that match that'll be match of the year. Honestly,
I need a full 90 minutes on that. Court Bauer needs to close down the show. Give me an empty arena in 90 minutes. Speedball versus Fatu.
And I mean, if you're signing Speedball, it wouldn't hurt you to sign Vita Scott if you're trying to set up a winner.
Thank you. Yes.
Smart business.
Yes. Smart business.
That's a good business idea. The last
also
idea
she can also commentate.
That's a good business.
Yeah. She's a great commentator too. So yeah, definitely, absolutely.
See, and if we had this business idea before, we could have hooked them up, gotten them married, and they would have had no work visa problems.
Yeah.
What a stooge. Anyways, they're actually getting married because they're in fucking love, you jerk.
Yeah.
But anyways, but couldn't you imagine this? Let me paint a picture right now because I got a booking mind for MLW. I really do really well with that. Let me paint a picture. You bring Veda Scott in, all right? You got Speedball. You put him. He's running programs already. You bring Veda Scott in to be a guest commentator for the women's division. You got her there with Saint Laurent. You got her working her magic because she's a great commentator. Then as you introduce the women's division, you have somebody like, I don't know, Masha Slamovich accidentally hit the table, kind of like Jericho did when he returned and JBL got back in the ring, something along the lines of that. You have her accidentally hit the announce table, maybe bump Veda Scott. Veda Scott's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And Masha Slamovich is like, yo, fuck you. And then Veda Scott knocks her in the face. And all of a sudden, you've got tailor-made stuff. And then you bring in, like, again, you introduce Lufisto as the manager for the face of your division. And then you introduce that's how you could set up Lufisto as being like maybe they do something like where they have a GM of the women's division. So
like Canellis, like a Ring of Honor, like American, like American.
Exactly. And it's if some I would not mind to see
that's perfect.
A great wrestling mind like Maria Canellis work with Lufisto in MLW. If ROH Court Bauer, if you're listening, and I know you do watch it sometimes, I know we're on your mind. You think about us Canadian boys 24/7. If you could somehow work it where ROH and MLW has that partnership because they have some great female talent up in there, great women in wrestling. Find a way to work that relationship, man. So ROH's women's division and MLW's women's division can grow together.
Honestly,
it's just literally a match made in. That's a good marriage. Not a marriage of convenience. That's a marriage made in heaven, right?
You're onto something for sure because now that Ring of Honor just no longer has a relationship with New Japan or CMLL, they can build this relationship with MLW and do their own 1 year anniversary show, like a 1 year collaboration show.
Dude,
fucking Airwolf. Oh my god, dude.
Could you imagine Sledge going at Fatu? Could you imagine Mike Bennett in a triple threat with Myron Reed and fucking I don't know, man, Alex Kane, just to throw in a name for the sake of it? Could you imagine Calvin Tankman going at fucking Shane Taylor? Calvin Tankman versus Shane Taylor. Shut the fuck up and take my money.
Yeah, I would have.
Shit.
Yes, bro. Yes.
If you want to talk about the forbidden door, that's the way to get the fucking back door open.
Hell yeah.
ROH and MLW partnership, and then you throw Dragon Gate into the mix. And I asked Rob this the last time because I have an old Dragon Gate DVD from like fucking 15 years ago. So that roster is probably not even there. We went through the roster, and some of the members are there, but they're a little bit older, so they're not working consistently. But I asked Rob if Dragon Gate had any female talent, and I believe, Rob, when we checked it, they don't, right?
No, I don't believe they did.
No,
they did not have any female talent. But could you imagine working Dragon Gate, ROH, and fucking MLW together?
Yeah.
Like, that would highlight a great promotion that's not very recognized here, because a lot of people, when you mention anything about Japanese wrestling to our North American fans, they know New Japan, they know All Japan, they don't know Dragon Gate too well. And again, I only have a DVD from like 2004, so it's not like consistent. But somehow, some way, if we could get into something like that, would be phenomenal.
I'm trying to remember, because he mentioned Dragon Gate. I think Matt probably would know more than me, but I know he mentioned it to me. I think their female division, I think, is from DDT Wrestling, or Choco Pro Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And
so they have a working, so they're female.
They have a working relationship too. Yeah, they have that too. And well, I mean, and because they already make their appearances in AEW with that women's bracket tournament, you saw like the ones from Japan. They're from Choco Pro and Tokyo Yoshio Pro Wrestling. So they have that relationship with DDT, Noah, and Dragon Gate. So they all have that bond. And I'll send you guys a link so you can see they've done, which they're gonna work on, by the way. It should happen in October. All the major promotions in the small in Japan will come together and have a big event card from every promotion, from All Japan, New Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragon Gate, Wrestling
Japan.
DDT. Yeah,
there's gonna be like 8-on-8 matches in that fucking card.
Hell yeah! I mean,
Japan and then loves that shit.
Hell yeah! And then just Noah just had one with DDT called Cyberfest. That was a fucking epic fucking card. I'll forward you guys the link for that one to see the match.
Please do.
Actually, I enjoyed it. So that's another thing too that Corbar could do by bringing a lot of these Japanese, inner promotions working alongside as well. It will give it more exposure in the States, so all over, and also benefits them, because what about he could just exchange talent, send them over there to Japan, have them work out with them as well with Dragon Gate, with Noah and DDT. So it's like,
and I think you're onto something there, because one thing I've noticed about Court is he doesn't do the obvious. He does the genius. He does things differently. He's not going to do what you think he's going to do. He's going to do something different. Yeah.
Well, fuck, a 2.5-year storyline with Hammerstone just to get his hands on fucking Fatu. Right? You want to talk about slow build? You can't get any. This is like slow roast pork, man. This is like shit in Texas getting cooked for fucking 15 hours. It took fucking 27 months to get here. It took 27 months. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not exhausted. I'm still invested because I need to. Now it's like a train wreck. I need to see the end game here. I know it's going to be what I want. It's going to be big.
It's going to be big.
Like the pop. Now that, and did you not see the clips on social from that 2,300 crowd? That 2,300 crowd was fucking electric. The pop that Slice Boogie, my man Slice Boogie, and I tweeted this in the NWA pay-per-view Back for the Attack. I said, if Slice Boogie doesn't win, we riot. And he won. He won. Thank God. And you know what the cool thing about that is? Side note, in my prediction show, I picked that Slice would win, but I also picked that he would pin Jordan Clearwater. Because I looked at everybody they were facing. I'm like, Clearwater, he's so green. He's still got to work his way up. If Slice is going to go over on anybody, it's not going to be the other guys in the ring because they are a little bit more established. Slice is going to go over on Jordan Clearwater.
I'm going to have to debate with you on that one. I beg to differ. You have to, if you really look at Jordan Clearwater's match, go to New Japan Strong and see his matches. Go back to see his matches there and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He's not as green as what you said per se, because that match in WA was clearly it was for Slice. Straight out, it was. So it's not like he was green. It's just that he's gonna just sell it for him regardless. But if you go really bad,
I don't mean green as sorry. Let me retract. I don't mean green as like he's new to the business. I know he's been around for quite some time, and I know he's got great potential. I absolutely do. I just mean green because if you look at somebody who needs that push now, it's Slice. Because let's face it, Slice is not getting any younger. Whereas Clearwater still has a lot more time to grow and develop. It's like Myron Reed. Fuck, when you realize how young Myron Reed is, how young fucking Jordan Oliver is.
Yeah.
And again, Jordan Oliver is a guy who, if you go back to the early archives of Rewind, I shit all over Jordan Oliver. When he came out and they were like, he's a heavyweight. He's like, I want that fucking title. I'm like, dude, Where did you put on these fucking apparent 15 pounds?
Yeah.
Did you stuff your jock strap? Because there's no fucking way you're a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight. So, and you look at a guy like Jordan Oliver, who's a guy like Rob size. I'm sorry. You may have
I'm bigger than Jordan Oliver. I've seen him.
Sorry?
I've seen Jordan Oliver at C4 in Ottawa. I'm larger than him.
Oh, wow. Okay, so now he's got a fucking ego about that now. Well, I'm bigger than Jordan Oliver. So, all right, Jacob for 2, if you're paying attention. Rob wants that fucking title.
Want that shit.
But all I'm saying is that you look at what Court Bauer is, and like I said, I've coined him the mad genius because fuck, half the time when I think he's going left, that motherfucker cuts 3 people off and goes right.
Yeah.
Like Court Bauer, the way he tells his stories is old school, classic wrestling, these slow builds. Because remember, back in the day, there wasn't a pay-per-view every month. You didn't have 1 month to clear up your storylines to go on to the next. You literally had 2 months, 3 months in between pay-per-views. So you could do these slow fucking builds. And when that's why the reaction back in the 80s and 90s was so electric, because you didn't have a weekly episodic show till 1993. So before then, you only saw the slow builds on Saturday Night Main Event and the pay-per-views. Yeah. But again, Saturday Night main Event back then wasn't considered, I believe it was every 2 weeks. I don't think it even was weekly.
I think you're right. It was like every other Saturday. Like it was.
Right. It was every
twice.
So again, you only had 2 Saturday Night Main Events, and then you had your pay-per-view, but you had your pay-per-view like fucking 3 months in between. Yeah. So you had slow builds back then was normal. It was consistent. It's what made. That's how you could keep kayfabe alive too, because it wasn't running on TV all the time.
Yeah.
And you know what? The great thing about it is now we all remember wrestling got big when Vince McMahon took all the territories and he made this one entity. But before then, all the territories thrived equally. So again, this Forbidden Door thing is not new. The indies have been doing it forever.
Yeah, it just they never got exposure for it. That's what it is.
They just never got exposure for it. But before the WWF was born, everybody had a territory. Yeah. Everybody, and you could borrow talent from other territories. If I'm The Rock's grandmother, I could call up Vince McMahon, who ran New York, and I could say, yo, can I borrow Junkyard Dog? Can I borrow Macho Man? Yes, you can. And the only reason I'm saying those names is because the Rock's TV show. I mean, that doesn't TV lie to you. TV tells you the truth. It doesn't lie to you. But regardless of the fact, at least you got my joke. Rob's sitting there looking like he's ready to debate.
I'm listening to you.
But the thing is that the indies thrived because of these working relationships. So this Forbidden Door concept is not new. Tony Khan didn't, discover something different. He just took the indie formula. He took the format from the 70s and beyond, and you made it relevant here, and that's great. Again, I shit all over Tony Khan. I shit all over AEW because I love their pay-per-views, but I also feel like their roster is ridiculously huge. That's why they keep creating weekly shows. Pretty soon, you're going to have to watch AEW 5 days a week for it to make fucking sense. And it's that's just a lot to focus on one company. It's even a lot to focus on a 3-hour Monday night. Well,
okay, I'm going to give you the spoiler right now because yes, Clark Street. We did have our debate that everybody been waiting for. You hear the announcement soon on their platform. Circle debate versus Clark Street, AEW versus WWE. But I'm gonna answer what you just said. He asked me. He said the same thing too. My answer towards that is, you don't necessarily have to watch the whole thing. You get me? Here's one thing that's the beauty part of it, of technology nowadays. If you want to highlight one individual that you're intrigued by, hey, I want to see who this individual is. Go YouTube, easily go to that match. Elevation or Dark, or both of them. I like this guy now to get the story that appears on Dynamite, because a majority of them storylines, people are like, what the fuck is this? This doesn't make any sense because it came out on Elevation and Dark. I get that point, but if you want to highlight the individual that you are intrigued to see, you go back, you highlight it, boom, I love it. Okay, now I get the story of what's going on with this individual.
Right, and
that's the beauty of it.
You're right. That is the beauty of it. But for me, when I've watched Dark and Elevation faithfully. When Dark started, I found Dark more enjoyable because I was seeing indie talent that I'd never seen before. And if it wasn't for Dark, I wouldn't have discovered a John Schuyler. I would have never became friends and colleagues with a Danny Limelight.
Yeah.
I would have never seen Bill Collier on a big screen because I never went to a Greektown show, and he's a Greektown regular down here. Greektown is one of the great promotions we have here in Ontario, but I've never been there. So but in seeing these wrestlers perform there made me a fan of them. So I love Dark. I watch Dark faithfully because it's showcasing the future of the business, and I'm all about the future. I've already got the future of podcasting upstairs. I already know she's better than me in every aspect. She's cuter, she's sweeter, she's more polite, she has better questions. I help her out with some of the questions, not all of them, but my daughter is the future of podcasting, and I'm so proud of everything she's accomplished because she is an amazing, amazing, amazing young woman. And I am so proud of her, and it's an honor to be her dad, and that's the truth. So I'm all about the future, and the future, Dark showcases the future all the time, as well as Elevation. And I'm sure Rampage is going to do the same thing. But
I hope so.
But for me to be invested, I want to watch the product. It's just when you got a family, and I get it. Technology is a beautiful thing. If I'm on the crapper for 10 minutes at work, I can watch 10 minutes of Dark and then catch up on the rest after. If I'm having a smoke break at work, I can watch 5 minutes. I can do that. And that's the beauty of it. But the thing is, I want to be all in. And a lot of times, pun. Okay, I'm not trying to be punny, but that just happened to be. I want to be all in on the product, but it's hard when there's so many shows. And also, too, again, don't get me wrong. Everything AEW is doing is game changing in a lot of ways. But with the good come the bad. With the fans come the marks. The know-it-alls who think they fucking live and breathe. Oh yeah, well I know that Tony said this. How do you know? You got a fucking camera in the boardroom,
right? Exactly.
Like, how do you what makes you different from all? And again, I'm just a podcaster from Canada who is a big fan of wrestling and has an opinion. Is my opinion right? Not always. Is it? Am I? Fuck you, Rob.
I didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
Listen, I said at the beginning of the show, when I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. Ivan, you brought up a great point, and you're right. That's the beauty of it. If I want to highlight a specific wrestler on Dark, if I miss Dark, but I don't want to watch the full hour and 48 minutes, I could just find that match and watch that match. Or I could fast forward through that hour plus and just find that match. And you're right. That is the beauty of it. But again, my opinion is not always right. I'm wrong a lot of times, but when I'm wrong, I'm one of the few podcasters that will admit it. If somebody brings information to the table, fuck you again, Robin. If somebody brings something to the table, I can fully admit that I'm wrong. Rob, you've corrected me numerous times on MLW, and I've said, yes, you are right. I'm not, unlike Lewis, I don't have an ego. There's no ego with me. I'm 150% humble all the time. I can talk. I have a sexy radio voice. My wife is gorgeous, and my daughters are beautiful. That's because my wife is beautiful. Other than that, I'm just a fucking fat guy from Canada who loves to watch wrestlers.
I mean, you're not the only one with the sexy voice, man. I mean, we also got Rob here that breaking news when I
when I turn on the voice, like I don't do it. But when I actually turn it on, I can really turn it on.
But why, when you turn it on, do you have to talk like this? When I turn it on, I just talk normally.
Well, because I can't talk naturally like this, George.
Well,
if you want to sound like a game show host, you really got to turn it on.
You're not Bruce Buffer. You're not fucking, you're not
ladies and gentlemen,
fucking Anchorman. Like, fuck off, Rob. Fuck off,
I'll be ring announcing by the end of the year.
You know what? I'm gonna end up telling Rob to do an intro for me for Circle of Debate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Circle of Debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Circle of Debates.
Ladies and gentlemen, he recorded that while he was on the toilet taking a giant shit.
Oh, like you don't sit on the toilet with your phone.
Come on, bro. I think we all do, right?
Listen, again, some people don't have toilets, so they shit in the bush, and that's fucking great.
I got a gaming chair for my regular gaming, and then my toilet is for my mobile gaming.
But the fact is that, to my point, is again, I want to be invested in the product as much as possible, but I will watch Dark faithfully over Dynamite because I like watching the up-and-comers. I like watching the future. And not to say that Dynamite doesn't have great packed matches, because it does. There are some Dynamites that deliver. Fuck, first Dynamite with the crowd, over 1 million views. You cannot say that they're not doing things correctly. They are. But all I'm saying is, much like what we've seen in the podcasting game and in the wrestling game, egos can destroy you. So, and Tony Khan has grown an ego in the last 6 months that I feel is going to knock him down a peg or two. And it's not going to be the fact that he's not achieving success. He's going to keep achieving success because of who he's got in the offices, who he's got on the screen, who he's got helming his divisions. Those are some of the best wrestlers in the world, period.
Yeah. And to add to that, that's why MLW is the future, and it's going to be within the next year or so, in my opinion, is going to elevate. It's going to get to the point. It's already there for me. My opinion, it's already at there.
Absolutely.
Where even as Ring of Honor's at, but it's going to get noticeable more once the weekly episodes on Vice TV starts to appear more. They're going to get more exposure. They're going to be like, oh shit, what is this? Boom. They're in. They're already in, by the way, but they're going to get more further. But here's a curveball question to end it here for the last topic, both for you guys. Mm-hmm. And this is going to, I don't know. This is a curveball question. As right now, we have Jacob Fatu, the face of MLW. We are seeing Alex Hammerstone, who's going to be in the upcoming one. But what about if we have Myron Reed becoming the face? He's the face of the middleweight division as we speak. But what about the heavyweight division? What about him being the underdog, comes curveball out of nowhere, becomes a new face? Because honestly, for me, I feel Myron Reed has been the face overall, besides Jacob Fatu, because he delivers on a weekly basis when he performs on MLW Fusion. That's why I feel that Myron Reed becoming a heavyweight champion, going for the heavyweight champion, makes sense to me, and will be a hell of a curveball for him even becoming a heavyweight champion and being the face of MLW. So I don't know your thoughts about that.
I don't dislike the idea, but for me personally, the next one after Hammerstone that I see kind of being the face of MLW is the best heel that MLW has next to Richard Holiday. I would say Filthy Tom Lawler. Filthy Tom Lawler is due for some gold, and he does some of the greatest fucking promos. I mean, the guy got a handful of piss thrown in his face, and it still kept going. So I mean, Tom Lawler has some, like, dude, Filthy Island, when he hands Guarini the lube and says, listen, you got to take one for the family.
Yes.
Great. That's great. And at the end of the day, I think that if anybody's due for a legitimate run at the top, it's Lawler. I love Reed. Reed is a great guest, a good friend. I love everything Reed does, but let him run that MLW middleweight division for a little bit. Give me a year plus. Give me 2 years if you need to. Let him just have, because they've added some great.
Of course, you added Davey Richards, Matt Cross.
I want to see Reed knock them all down. I want to see knock them all down.
Hell yeah.
So he needs time to do that, and then maybe. Well, I mean, picture this though: if somehow Tom Lawler can take the title from Hammerstone or Fatu, whenever that happens, maybe Lawler runs with it until Reed is ready.
Yeah,
Lawler. That's match of the year ability right fucking there.
Absolutely.
So as much as I don't hate on the Myron Reed idea, I think he needs to run through all these great new additions to the middleweight division. Like he needs to run through Lee Moriarty. He needs to run through Aramis, Aries, all those great additions. And there's more, but those are the only ones off the top of my head. I want to see Davey Richards or go at Fatu or Hammerstone. I want to see Mad Dog Matt Cross somewhere in the mix there. I want to see all these, and now that MLW has added these amazing pieces, I want to see the Suplex Assassin go at fucking Jacob. Like, there's some great additions, and I cannot wait for that. But right now, logically speaking, let Myron Reed take that middleweight division, elevate it to new heights. Really, really elevate it to where the middleweight division is not considered a second-rate title to the heavyweight, but it's neck and neck. And if one wrestler in MLW can do that, it is Myron Reed. Myron Reed can take that middleweight title and make it the same level as the heavyweight, if not higher caliber. That's where Myron Reed needs to be right now. Rob, the floor is yours.
Man, this is painful. I'm gonna have to agree with you, George. That hurts. But yeah, I pretty much have to agree with everything you just said.
Somebody call 911. I can't stop.
This is rough for me to. Yeah, It's like
Yeah,
original pain, dude.
you better
Like,
drink the whole bottle of scotch tonight, bro.
Oh man, no, Myron is such a good wrestler.
Yeah.
And I think to me, I will never say like, yeah, you could say Jacob Fatu is the face, but I'm like, I'll never define it as just like one person. To me, there's a whole like council of people that make MLW what it is. There's an elite group of wrestlers that are just
Would you
top
say
tier.
a league, like the League of Extraordinary Podcasters? Shameless plug.
Yeah, you could say they're
Love it.
extraordinary wrestlers. It's a league of extraordinary wrestlers that are maybe just head and shoulders above everyone else, and they kind of are the draw for the company. And for me, it's guys like Fatu and Myron Reed and Davey Richards now, stuff that are really bringing in the people. So I have to agree with George. Myron's gonna kill it in the middleweight division. We could see him put on some more weight in a couple years and challenge, but I know with Myron, because I posed this question to him, and I didn't pose it as a question, I posed it as a statement. I said, I'm not going to ask you what you think is next or where you're going to go in the future. I just want to say that I can tell you're going to hit the heights, and I'm just enjoying watching the ride. And he said, like, that's exactly how I feel, man. I'm just kind of enjoying the ride and everything that's happening right now, and whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely.
So Myron's destined for great things. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I agree. I agree with that. It makes sense because especially with this rebranding and adding the addition for that middleweight division. I think if for me it's gonna be like a history repeat itself. TNA back in the days from like early 2000s, like shit, wow, they had their X division. This is gonna be your middleweight division, like motherfuckers. Yep, and mark my word, they're gonna get picked up by WWE or AEW. I guarantee you that it's gonna happen. Like it or not, it happened with.
You know what? As much as you guarantee it, I know that's eventually going to happen. I just don't want it to happen.
I know.
I feel like they'll get lost.
But the thing is, it's their lives. They need the money. What benefits them and what doesn't. So,
right. And a lot of times there are wrestlers like the couple times we've spoken to Myron. He's been open about it, saying like he's just focusing on enjoying the ride, but he does love his indie bookings and his indie dates. So. MLW may fit his lifestyle just for the simple fact that he can work the indies, and there's nothing wrong with being a guy that works the indies consistently.
Yeah,
he has the ability to do that.
I think we forget that sometimes, that like we just looking at someone else's career and go like, oh well, if I was so and so, I would just go to WWE or I would go to AEW or I would go here. But it's like a lot of these guys have and girls have other considerations. Like I can tell you for a fact because RVD told me this. Back when he signed with Impact, he goes, he had other offers, obviously not with Impact anymore. He had other offers on the table, but Impact gave him the best package in terms of his work-life balance and his merch and his other stuff that he wanted to do. So sometimes there's other factors we don't think about. And for some of these guys, yeah, they love working their indie dates. They don't want to give that up. And certain promotions will let you still work your indie dates and certain ones will not. So
agreed.
Things like that factor into their decisions. We might look at some people and be like, oh, why would they go there when they could have gone here? We don't always know what's another example. Trey Miguel, my boy. I love Trey. Trey's a friend. All the Rascals, all those guys are amazing. But everyone was going, why didn't Trey go to NXT with Des and Zach? Well, Trey's got a niece that isn't well, and he wanted to stay close to home to be with his family, and he's also got a wrestling school he runs in Ohio.
Right.
So like there's other things involved, right?
Agreed.
So we don't always think about that. But yeah, it's a good thing to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And you know what the cool thing is that again, we're just all enjoying the ride, but whatever happens with MLW and what the Mad Genius does and these great additions that he's made behind the scenes to elevate the product and the great additions he's made in front of the camera, the fact is that every addition has been a great addition. And we still don't even know what the final round of the draft was because that happened at the Battle Riot. So we don't know who those final draftees could be. I mean, we know Mad Dog, but there's other people. Sorry,
LAX.
Yeah, LAX wasn't really drafted though. They were more of a surprise. I didn't see anything about a draft.
No, they weren't technically drafted.
So I mean, I would have to disagree with you, Rob. But the fact is that if you're not an MLW fan, what are you doing? Tune in, pay attention. It gives you something different. It's a breath of fresh air in a relatively structured wrestling world. and it allows you to have the freedom to see some great future talent, much like Dark. Listen, if you're a fan of AEW Dark, or if you're a fan of NXT, or if you're a fan of 205, MLW.
That's just dead, by the way. That's just gone.
Oh man, 205, Ari Sterling.
No, it's still there. It's still there. I don't know.
Yeah,
We love
I was going to say,
Ari,
Sterling has
Alexander.
been, like, I actually watched 205 last night, and that match that he had was fucking incredible.
He's been going over hard over there, so I have a feeling he won't be on 205 Live forever.
No,
Alex is too big of a talent to.
He's too big of a
stay
talent. And you know what? I just, as an MLW fan, I'm just enjoying what has happened. I can't wait to see Battle Riot, like the full aspect, not just clips of it on Twitter and stuff like that. Because if you were lucky enough to be in that arena, you witnessed magic. And you also got to sit next to the absolute gorgeous Alicia Altute and watch her get champagne brought to her. And I mean, she looked dynamite in that fucking dress. Alicia Altute is just classic beauty.
Alicia,
Straight
we
up.
love you in sundresses, okay? Because some asshole on your Instagram said sundresses don't look good on you. We disagree, okay? You rock the shit out of those sundresses.
You rock the shit out of everything, girl. You awesome, man.
Yeah.
If you're not in
You
your
do
Doc
you.
Martens, fuck. Alicia Altute, classic Canadian beauty. Okay? That's what we do here in Canada. We produce beautiful women, and they all have banging teeth because their health benefits are fucking top notch.
So random. What the
Dude, did you never listen to Classified, bro? Like the Canadian
Oh.
English people have bad teeth, but where did this go with the
God. Oh, dude.
they have dental plans down
Don't
there?
listen to fucking Classified. You'll understand the joke. Jesus, Rob, I don't believe I have to spell everything out for you. Fuck's sakes. Anyways, Alicia Altute, she looked fire in that blue dress. And I just can't wait to see her back too and see who she gets in the fucking, because I mean, we have iconic phrases that have come from Alicia Altute, i.e. hammer dick. Okay? Hammer dick.
Well, poor Richard Holiday, man.
I swear to God, though, I'm not gonna lie to you. If he releases that poster,
I mean, I'll buy it, dude. I'll buy it.
He has, okay, so he's got 3 purchases right here.
Yeah. I love that segment. I'm sorry. I enjoyed that
Hammer dick
segment.
poster right fucking there.
I keep referring to him
Right
as
there.
Hammer Dick in on his Instagram, and he keeps liking my comments. So he posted that because he was wearing that Hulk Hogan gear.
Yeah.
Like, I posted like Hammer Dick must pose or something, and he liked the comment. Like, all right,
drink your Ovaltine, take your vitamins, say your prayers.
and take your piss test.
Take your piss test.
Oh man, you know what? I like
Oh.
when that happened. That whole side note, when that piss test thing happened, when fucking Marshall threw it right in Lawler's face. The worst part about it was that Lawler tried not to lick his lips, and again, it was probably apple juice for sure. But he tried not to lick his lips. And at one point, there's a point. If you pause it at the right point, he's
Yeah,
like,
he
"You
did.
know what?"
Oh shit! I love it, man.
Okay, but you know what? What's your thoughts on that? Like, you posed the question, but we didn't ask you. What's your thoughts on? Do you really see Myron Reed being the future of MLW?
Honestly, the way how you guys broke it down, it makes sense for that to happen that way to become in fruition. Because right now, obviously, like I said, I mean, what I mentioned, that's going to highlight what Myron Reed is already doing with the middleweight division itself. He's going to highlight everything overall and making that title more prestigious than what it is. To the point, it's going to get to the level of where the heavyweight title is at. It might be more relevant than the heavyweight title. See, that's the biggest fear for the heavyweight. I don't know, for Jacob Fatu. But I mean, if I was him, I mean, don't get me wrong, he puts badass matches, but bro, I mean, upcoming up, especially with his new roster, the shake-up roster you guys have, Myron Reed might go ahead and overtop you on that because matches gonna have with Davey Richards, Matt Cross, I mean Alex Kane. I was like, so many, even with Danny Limelight, he could have one too. Shit.
Oh fuck!
Oh man,
Danny Limelight versus
yes,
Myron Reed?
that'll be a badass
You know what?
match.
You know what? Fuck that. Slice Boogie versus fucking Jacob Fatu.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that match. I fucking love it. But yeah, but just think about that. That's what I'm saying. That it could happen. That Myron Reed could take that division to another level, which he is, and makes it more relevant than the heavyweight title. But then let's say later on, once he's gone through all the throughout that division, then go for the heavyweight, like how you guys said, yeah, within a year or a year and a half, I would say. Then go for it. Whoever's the champ by then.
The timeline is perfect.
Yeah.
By 2023, we'll see Myron Reed in that heavyweight title picture for sure. I would say that's a safe bet. I don't know when in 2023, but by 2023, Myron Reed will be in the heavyweight championship conversation for sure.
Maybe sooner. I would say by the end of next year of 2022. I would say by the end of that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think you have a great timeline. I think I have a great timeline. I think we don't need to hear Rob's timeline at all.
I like
breaking news. What is
breaking news?
Breaking news.
No
I have no timeline.
I'm from a different school of thought where I believe you can't plan 2 years in the future for wrestling a lot of times because you don't know what's going to happen between now and then, and a lot of people's pushes or just success are as a result of decisions that other people made. Maybe they left the company and somebody needed to be elevated into that spot and whatnot. So you can never tell with wrestling because stuff changes all the time. So I like both your timelines. And all I know is with Myron Reed, he is destined for greatness. That kid is humble, hardworking, incredibly talented. And whether he's the face of MLW or the face of anywhere else, we're Team Myron over here.
Absolutely. And he's got one person that can whoop his ass quite convincingly because he told us straight up is his little man, his son has beaten him a few times for that. So technically, Myron has already lost the MLW championship a few times to his own son.
So like
because his son has whooped his ass.
Damn. I heard that conversation. I remember that.
Yeah, man, for sure. Myron is a great talent, and I hope that when his contract is up, I believe it's next year, when his contract is up with MLW, I hope he still explores options and relationships with MLW. I know he wants to test the water. The mini host did ask him that. He's not opposed to testing the water, but testing the water doesn't always mean you're going to sign. It means you're just going to go out there, see what's out, and you may want to return home. And as far as I'm concerned, MLW is Myron Reed's home. It is the house that Myron Reed helped not build, but elevate.
Yes.
And that's what Myron Reed does. Wherever
he drywalled it.
Yeah, he did. He did. Most definitely
he did. He did the drywall, all the mudding and taping.
Yep.
Myron Reed, solid cat.
Hell yeah, solid, man. I love it. I love it, man.
Why did you have to put him in the box with the drywalling and the mudding and the taping? Why couldn't he lay the brick? Why couldn't he put in the window?
He could have laid the brick. He could have done the floor.
Well, how about you say he's the jack of all trades? No, he's the guy that drywalled it. What the fuck, man? Like, come on.
I don't know. Drywall just came to mind.
Drywall. All right. Thank you so much for turning into Circle of Debate. I am now going to pack my bags. Ivan, kick out the intro, man. Again, thank you so much for the love and always welcoming me back and now having Rob on for the first time. Dude, like I said, you are one of the best in the game. You host like nobody's business. I have definitely learned and elevated my hosting game through you, and that's the truth. And that's not kissing ass. That's the fucking truth, dude. You are Hermano. You're our family. And every time you ask me to come on, I have reworked my schedule for you because at the end of the day, that's what friends do. That's what family does. And thank you so much. And do we need to shout out our socials? I feel like I've been on here so many times. People should know my shit by now.
Well, if you don't know my shit.
People,
I'm new, so you can follow my ass.
Nope.
All right, Uncle Bobby B, shout out your social media platforms and where can they find you, brother?
Shout out your social, Rob. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can catch me on Instagram. I'm the real Uncle Bobby B. There's a lot of fake ones. I have to differentiate myself.
What about Twitter, bro? You're not on Twitter?
Yes, you are.
I am. Am I on Twitter?
Yes, you are.
You are.
Okay, legit. I signed up for it and my account got hacked like 7 hours later. I was going to kill George.
I keep tagging you too. I know.
What am I on Twitter? I think I'm the real Uncle Bobby B again.
The real.
There might be like some underscores or something in there.
The underscore.
Oh, underscore. No, sorry. It's at Uncle _ Bobby _ B _
I mean, oh my god, I love this, man. You still gotta shout out the socials, brother. You have to, man.
I know, but like I mean, like fuck underscore like fuck. Okay, I am
Straight Talk Wrestling
at _ Straight Talk. That's it. And everywhere else, YouTube, where you can catch both Straight Talk, the mini host, and MLW Rewind, Straight Talk Wrestling. Instagram and Facebook, Straight Talk Wrestling. And we are available on all audio platforms. And Rewind drops every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And Ivan, again, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys, because...
What?
I thought we record at 10 a.m.
Not on Sundays.
Oh,
We're gonna have to start changing but right now, currently, we're dropping one every Sunday at 10 a.m. But because now the schedule falls on Saturdays for MLW, we may have to change that. Either we record right after MLW or we record Sunday morning, and I'll still drop it Sunday at 12. But I need time to edit. It doesn't just go up there, Rob. You have to edit.
Oh, that's what you do with all your time.
Yeah, all right. All right. I play my video games. I look at my new toys. I just got a couple new additions to my collection over there. Okay.
I'm gonna steal them too.
You're not gonna fucking steal them. Roddy Piper's still there, asshole. You haven't touched it.
For now. Next time I come over, that shit's gone. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having us, man. I appreciate it. Circle of Debate. You guys are awesome.
That's right. Thank you guys. And this has been a great conversation, a great top five that we, all three had a phenomenal list. Not only that, but also giving the history, ladies and gentlemen, of MLW itself. And hopefully you guys be tuning in to MLW. If not, what the hell are you doing? I think you should. You're missing out on a lot of good shit. Damn it.
Great shit. Damn it.
Great shit. So you got to make sure to...
Now he's not talking like this. Now he's talking like this.
Listen. You're not watching MLW. You're missing out on the second most recognizable professional wrestling promotion in all of America, baby.
That's right, baby. You heard it right. You heard it from
That actually wasn't bad. I
loved it. Actually,
that actually wasn't.
Like Dusty's okay. It's not great. I got no okay.
It's not. A lot of things you do aren't great, but that was a decent effort for sure.
Yeah, it was. And I honestly, brothers, man, I would love to have you guys back. We gotta pretty much do a recap, either of a MLW pay-per-view or anything at all. And I love having this conversation.
Absolutely. We're honored and humbled to be asked to come on anytime. And just next time, I want a couple of the other guys from Circle Debate, man. I still have yet to actually converse or debate with Mike. I have heated debates with the El Director, and I love, like, the first time I met Matt, man, he's like, George, I need your attention. I remember I had to stop it. I glanced at my phone for 1 second because I made a point, and then I got a text, so I just glanced at my phone quickly. I just went like this, and he's like, Mr. Mckay, I need your attention.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to move. I didn't blink. You go back and watch it. I was sitting there going like this. I was straining to keep my eyes open because I didn't want him to lose my... But no, man, Circle Debate is some of the best dudes in the game. And at the end of the day, when we all grow together. And
exactly.
They are one of the best that has done it. And their subscriber count needs to improve, needs to go up. They need that love. Not saying that mine is anything to gloat about. I could also use a few more subscribers. I'm like 13 away from 350, which would be awesome to get to if we can. But Circle Debate, the numbers keep going up, and it's rightfully deserved because you guys put in the work. Some a little bit more than others, Ivan. But Chris does some things. Chris comes on, and he's adorable. Chris, I love Chris. Chris is a great guy. I think he actually just sent me something on Messenger here. What did he say to me? He said, no joke, personal question. This was in the things Canadians do differently than Americans, and I just need to know the truth. What did he say? What is this? No, we don't put peanut butter in fucking trays. We don't do that.
What?
We have peanut butter in jars. We have peanut butter in jars.
I mean, we put our milk in bags. Yeah.
But we also have the jugs and the cartons.
Yeah, we have cartons, but like most people buy, you're buying 3 bags of milk, and like I know people come here from other countries and it's like, what the fuck is it? We're the only ones that do this. I don't understand it.
But we have Max Milk here, and you can buy the big ass jugs of milk like they do in the States. You can buy those here too. We just do things a little bit differently. We also what else do we? Well, our cereal is less sugary. We don't get all the cool American cereals that they have out there. Like I like to, when I bite into a cereal, I like to lose my teeth, and I haven't been able to do that with the Canadian cereals. We don't have the sugar content. Even when like Count Chocolate shit comes back here, it's not the sugared up Count Chocolate that you guys have.
No, there's a distinct difference between the Count north and south of the American border.
I'm pretty sure.
The chocolate content is decreased substantially.
So I will message Chris after and be like, you have to turn it to the MLW podcast because I answered your question live on air.
Exactly. Tell it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for tuning here to this top 5, and of course, a historic timeline of we did the screen of describe to you all about MLW. Make sure you tune in on Vice TV. Follow them every Saturday, starting next Saturday on July 24th. Make sure you tune in every Saturday to MLW, and also every Sunday. If it's Mr. Mckay and Uncle Bobby B, MLW Rewind. It's Straight Talk Wrestling overall. Well, thank you very much for watching and for listening. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.